Boo! For anyone who's just got this plan in the background and forgot that it was running. I mean, it says there's 2 people here, but I don't know if I believe that. I also hope I'm not going to get copyright strike for the lo-fi beats, but who cares? It's not like I'm making any money from these videos anyway. What are we doing today? Updating our Bevy platformer to 0.10. So, I probably should have done a trial run of this in terms of like doing it so that I knew how much work this would be, because it's going to be a hilariously short stream if most of my stuff is already up to date in terms of like, you know, there's not that much to update. There's at least a little bit because I do use stages, but like I feel like if I did a trial run, I would have either gone like, God, there's going to be a lot of work, or gone like, oh, it's like literally nothing, and then just had it all done. Like it seems like cheating to have a git commit that already has all the things done. It's not going to show how you have to experiment to work out what you're actually doing. Interesting. Why does it say no data? This is baffling. Well, apparently the channel's, the stream's gone back to good condition. Morning. Bizarre. Let's go OBS. OBS seems to think I'm fine. But all my viewers have disappeared, so anyway. On with the show. We'll just have to pretend that there's people here. Well, we're waiting for the Rust Analyzer to run, which I'm not sure why, but recently it's just got so slow. I think it's something I did. It's like I broke my Rust Analyzer by making a recursive loop of implementations, and it's just not been the same since. I did something that was like impl on something that impls itself, and then the Rust Analyzer just would take like 20 minutes to analyze the file every time I saved, and then it wouldn't even show me the errors. It was just like, nope, I am broken. The stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend using a strict bit. Oh no. Can't really help that. My internet's as fast as it is. Again, look at the Rust Analyzer. Oh, I paused it. Oh no, it's going to start again. Fetching metadata, checking, fetching metadata, running check. Well, I'm going to get to work on this. So it's instead it's app.add underscore system, and then we want to say what are we adding? We're adding set up underscore level underscore edit editor. Then it's like, this is where I need the magic powers of Rust Analyzer. What is it? It's like a dot in schedule. Great. Not going to show me anything, is it? Are you that broken? Right, because you're so to stage. So this is dot add frame time dot last. So this is dot in base set. I think it's base set. Core base set last. Is that right? One too many. No. So what is it? It's gonna be base set something. Base set. No. Core. No. Core set last. Okay. In base set, core set last. Okay, then we'll come down here. The trait bound velocity is no component. Okay, so that means I've got it. Oh, that doesn't make sense because velocity should have been updated. Unless Bevy Rapier is not up to date. Which I think it was. I'm sure something said it was. And I've just got it wildcarded in, so Bevy Rapier. Yeah. Good. Docs maybe. See what version of Bevy it uses. Anyway, moving on to other things while that's working. So that's also just velocity Bevy Rapier stuff, which I can't really fix. I guess one thing we can do is go terminal. I think it's cargo update is what I need to do, because that'll undo my lock, and I think it's because I'm wildcarding it in my locks out of date, and therefore Rapier's not using the latest version. So I've put it as 21, and don't put 21. I want you to wildcard. Wildcard. 21 is the latest, and let's just have a look and go. Nobody is like 0.21, 21.1. There's only one thing that got added to that. Interesting. Well, now Rust Analyzer is going to take a million years to run again. Rapier context again, so can't really fix that. No, move player. Another Rapier context issue. System label, so it says system set. No, simple change. Yeah, so now the Rapier stuff's all gone, and it dramatically reduced the amount of stuff I need to do. So this was dot in set in underscore set, and then it was like on update. No, on enter. So, and that's because I need it on in scheduler. Dot in underscore scheduler. Oh, this is where I wish I could spell. Yeah. Hey, Scarlett. Let's see. Schedule. I don't know why this isn't working. Why are you not giving me italicence? In just go schedule. And then it's like on enter. Game state. Level editor. Alright, and then we can do like level editor, setup level editor, in schedule. Or do I have to do like app dot app dot in schedule, and then we add this. We do this. No, not in it. In schedule. Add. Ugh. I know how to do this. I've done this before. Add schedule. No, so it's got to be add system. It's add system to schedule. This is where we go to Bevy's page. We go Bevy. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but it doesn't matter. It's on my second monitor. We're going to go to news, and then we're going to go to the update, and then we're going to go to the migration guide, because it's faster than me trying to remember how to get there. What is it? It's like add system to stage. Is being replaced with add system in base set. Okay. Labels have been replaced. Yes. System set, and then it's been add system. Run if, yeah, no. And then we have fixed time step, no. We go to run if, no. Still, no. Okay, on enter. There we go. So in schedule. In schedule on enter. You gonna complain now? Okay. So this one's the same. We're gonna go like, Alt down. And then we're gonna say this one's on exit of this level editor. We're gonna go this one. Clean up editor. And then add system my cursor system? Okay. Now you've got other things to complain about apparently. My cursor system. Window, right, because you no longer the Windows dimensions, because you are now a query for window. Window, and then I don't think we need any filters on that. So use query for window, and then instead of getting primary, wait, we probably want to go with primary window. Okay. So then we want to go like, when do I get symbol? Okay, so primary. So ID. Camera.target window to get ID or get primary. Okay, this does weird stuff. I think I'm just gonna say, right, if the window render target window, how does the render target return then? So window ref. Do I specifically enter or more vague defaulting choice? Okay. Window ref. Primary or entity. Okay. So that would mean we would want to say grab all windows, and then well, I guess also primary. Like that. And then we're going to go like query window primary. Right, so what we do is we go okay, so we what other options you got? Image. Okay, right. So go down. We say this, otherwise we go like continue apparently, because you're. I guess we can just say like primary dot single. Like that, and then otherwise we match ID. And then fill the missing arms, and we say if the primary, we also call primary dot single. Otherwise, we call windows dot get e, and then do we have to unwrap you? Yeah. Okay, so dot unwrap. Okay, and then do that, and that should mean that. Oh, we need to say with primary window. Okay, with primary window, and that should be the editor fixed. Okay, we're gonna ghost, and there's like a whole bunch of errors up here. Okay, add system to stage. Okay, so this is just So we'll alt this one up just to make it all line up, and go do that, and so it's first, last. So we should probably go end back dot in base set core set. Let's go to last, because then we only have to change the top one. You are first, and then we go shift control no, too far back. Okay, that's that fixed. Are you gonna complain about anything else? No. Okay. Okay, so this is just add stage game state, and then obviously the default is menu. The editor plugin. Editor plugin, editor, Bevy, editor please. Right, because we're using this. Well, it's easily fixed. We'll just turn that into a wildcard, and that'll get the editor please update. This is line breaks. Line breaks, which is apparently a line break. Oh, hello. Informant 09. How's everyone enjoying the stream so far? I'm loving this, it taking forever to load anything. Poor Rust Analyzer. Just so slow. Okay, so you need to implement hash. No, okay. No. Line. Okay, what are we looking for? Line break on. Why is this not included in the prelude? Word boundary. Okay. Well, what we could have done is just said default. That would have probably worked. Game state. So first off, this is the state. So, okay. So really, we can just say res mute next state, because it's, and then game state. Game state is not it's not specified. The trait bound game state is not implemented for game state. Okay, yeah. So we go here. We need to go UR state. Thank you. Okay. So you need to have a default. You're going to default default to that one and drive default, please. Default. I don't know why the stream ends up so bloody far behind. It's like ridiculously far behind. So player state doesn't implement hash. Well, it does. It probably also needs to implement apparently debug. Equal and par equal. Okay. What else do you need? You need clone. Okay. Oh. No, nope. What? There we go. What errors? Dot label is no. Dot. In underscore set. No. Dot. Something else now. So, what did I call it? Label. What did Bevy change labels to? Label. It's right at the top, isn't it? It's like anything with labels in set, my set. Yeah, okay. Did have it right. Is it Control D? D? Dot. In underscore set. Move. Okay. And then obviously player stage has got the correct thing implemented. Okay, so you're the same. You need to be next state. I do see why they changed the state thing, because when it comes down to it, it's a lot of like nobody ever used the functionality of being able to read what state you're in and setting the next one kind of thing. Like, and you can do that anyway. Like you didn't need to know like, oh, in 3 states time, if I popped them off, it would be this state. Like, well, most of the time, you're just changing it. Text align center. No variant center. Right. Text align center. Weird rename there. Okay. More of these. Okay, so these are like dot add underscore system, and then we need to say like what system. So this is setup menu, set up main menu, set up main menu in underscore schedule, and then the schedule is on enter game state menu. Alright, then we're gonna go like dot. So first off, we're gonna like control these down. So we need all three of these, except you're going to be in set on update, and you are going to be state buttons. State buttons. And then we say you are on exit. What have I done? On exit. And then you are cleanup. This is cleanup menu. Cleanup menu. Okay. Okay. So that's that all tidied up. This system. Huh. A little mini system here. That's hilarious. Okay, so do the same. So what do we got? We've got an on enter, on update, and on exit of the base set. So that means I may as well just go can I go like all of these and then go like alt them all down? Well, that did work, but not what I wanted. Okay, so we want you to be in set on update. You're in set on enter. You are input level base 64. Hello, Reason. Raisvel? Okay, I can't read. I'm just gonna stop trying to butcher your username. Let's see. So you wanted to be first off a set like so, and then we want to say add systems, and this is setup level select. Setup set level select, and this cute little like ad hoc system that I've done for whatever reason. I've decided to do that. It's really cute, so I'm gonna do it anyway. So that's this one taken care of, and then this one's on update, and it has these two. So we need to do the same thing as saying add systems. Then we say load and input. Okay, that should let me tidy that up. And then we have another ad hoc system here, which is let's do that, not this. We want to copy the ad hoc system and the cleanup system. Menu. Okay, so that's that done too. Alright, so well, here's a clever thing, because they also have the weird ad hoc true false, is we could go do it. No. I just want to copy from here to here, copy, go down here, go paste. Alright, so this code's getting even more confusing now. That's ad hoc system, so here. So this one's in the system. init level input level name and finally input level name. Okay, so then your set false you call cleanup. Okay, on enter we set up level select. Okay, that's the same for both of those two, and then we add the ad hoc system, so it's identical with you. On update we need to load name level and input button, which means that you are the same. And then on cleanup and okay, and then we just need to insert the correct resource, and that should be that one done. Hey, look at that, we're down to only 2 files having errors. Tile map, why is this tile map having a problem? Because Bevy inspectable doesn't seem to have it. What should be up to date? That's bizarre. Why are you not working? Oh, because you no longer have the inspectable trait. Yes, you are literally like you just need to reflect. If you just reflect, it works. I don't even know why I had that implemented in the first place. Like literally, it didn't cause an error anywhere else, which means it was just dead code. Okay, inspectable reappear plugin. The trait is not satisfied for plugin. Okay, so that's obviously the same issue. Let's look here. So it reckons at 0.9, so maybe it's that it just didn't get updated. This one? 0.9? No, 0.9. So 0.9 might be out of date by looking at that. Is that because we pop in here and pop this down here, we go to the tunnel and we go version 0.9 and you use a dev dependency of 0.9. But that shouldn't matter. But you know it does because you implement Bevy obviously. Packages. Is it stashed somewhere else? No. Yeah, dev dependencies Bevy equals 0.9. So that means that basically the reappear inspector plugin thing doesn't work. So it's not been updated. But that, I mean, should be everything up to date. With that, the code should hopefully work. The fun bit of compiling something after lots of major changes is that it takes forever. I saw someone complain about that once on like, I think it was on the subreddit, and they were saying they watched a live stream of someone developing Bevy, and like it was like them ranting about why they hate Rust, and they're basically saying like, oh, the person spent more time compiling their code than writing any code. And like sometimes I can agree, like it takes a really long time to compile the first time, especially because when you want to do like any kind of serious development in Bevy, you've got to chuck the op level 3 on all dependencies in, otherwise, you know, Bevy grinds to a halt even though you're not really doing anything with it. So I like can definitely see the first time you compile Bevy taking ages, but like it doesn't take that long once you've done the first time, like, you know, less than a minute sort of like. And if you're doing any kind of reasonable development, like the only reason I'm not currently writing additional code is because like I'm seeing if it compiles properly. Like, but if I was implementing a system, like I should probably be doing now, is adding like the editor, I would be writing code while I wait for it to compile. I just wouldn't be writing code for what I'm trying to test, obviously. That would be prone to error. Because like I really want to do this editor, but I have no idea how to do it. It's not gonna like break everything, I guess. like what I would need is like for each map object type to have like a spawn editor, because it's gonna spawn self. Yeah, like UI drawer, and it gets commands and a root entity. That's like the UI root for the UI of the editor, and then it would draw the editor around the bottom, and then like have it, you know, call update, and it like has a function that has dynamic reflect, and then calls that function on itself, which is weird. I don't know why I've done that. I guess I've done that because I've specified that you have to take in reflect, but I can't write a function here. So I'm saying you give a function and then I run that function on myself. Every update, every time the UI gets an update. Because you could make each of these commands obviously take like the reference. Yeah, like moving things and recompiling, but like again, unless you've got only like one thing to do, I tend to do it like I'll move something and I'll start compiling, and if it's taking any kind of time at all, I'll be moving other things. My big issue is I have a tendency to like control save all the time, and that's really annoying when the Rust analyzer gets broken in like mine currently is, where it just takes forever when you control S to do anything, where it's like while I'm typing and it changes, they show up really quickly, but when I control S it like reanalyzes everything, and it just, you know, grinds the analyzer to a halt. And the Rust analyzer can also do this weird thing where it'll grind my entire computer to a halt because it's like deciding it needs to recompile something, and it just like uses every core at full tilt for 5 minutes, 10 minutes while it recompiles everything. That's not fun because it means that like I can't even use my computer because it's just recompiling shit. What was it? Yeah, so I guess what I should need to do is work on this draw UI function. So map object, and then I can. I just don't really know how to like just find them. I think I can just type in like system. There's a way, system information. So I don't think you're gonna find anything particularly. System specifications, so like Windows 10, 120 gigabytes of RAM. Processor is i9 1090F CPU. It's only at 2.8 gigahertz. I thought it was faster than that, but yeah, 10 cores. Default string. Where's the graphics card? Graphics card's here somewhere. Graphics card. I don't see it, but it's here somewhere. It's an Intel something, I think, or AMD, whatever the common one that's not the gaming stuff. I got it specifically because I was going to do some machine learning stuff, and then I found that a little too hard. Yeah, I think I need to reinstall it because I specifically know like at least what broke it most recently, which is that I made a recursive function, like a recursive implementation, and I think that broke it because literally everything ground to a halt. I'll show you the implementation if it doesn't break again. We come here, we go, and it's kind of like me messing around with Rust trace. I implemented this function as a like T, or like not T, like impl. You know, this the same as this T has, so it impls cal from string plus hash, and for whatever reason that just the Rust analyzer did not recover. It was really just so slow. It would literally like control S, and like 3 minutes later it would be like, yes, here is your recompile, like, you know, error report. Still can't find my thing. Can I just go to task manager and be like, does this tell me my GPU? Down here, GPU. NVIDIA GeForce RT 2060. So a little bit outdated, but you know, it works for what I need. What was I doing? This is not the right project. Back to here. I was trying to work out how to implement UI, so I should probably retitle my thing because I've kind of updated it to 10. Okay, so maybe platformer. Working on the editor. Okay. Save the new title. Okay. So we have the editor. And we just did all this stuff. So we have this like on enter. We spawn the level editor, set up level editor. Okay. So we have a level editor state. I guess we want to have something that's like so we want to have something that's something. What am I doing? So I'm going like I want to have a system that's like fn spawn new obj. So spawning the new obj is going to take in. It's going to need commands. It's going to need commands. It's going to need reference to. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't need mutable. It needs state, which is going to be a res menu. What is it called up here? There's this thing that it keeps telling me it's not making it. Level editor state. Level editor state. Okay. And then we say this could be a bad idea because it means that it'll keep redrawing the level editor even though I don't change anything. But we'll say if editor state changed is changed. Yes. Okay. Is changed. Except we say not and then we say return because I like my little escape things. So we'll just go return. I think now, like with what they were saying about the new updates to the like Bevy's run parameters and stuff, is you should do things like these escape closures in a system parameter, like a should run, because it's faster to do them on the main core than it is to do them as like internally return, because it needs to spin up a task to the stuff and then do it, whereas the should run check does it all on like the main core. So I'm not going to do that because I'd have to learn that, and it seems like something that's going to drag the stream down. But what we need to do is on that we need to say right, we need to also have like a query for editor root, which is going to be a query for an entity with editor root. Now maybe we'll just store that in the editor's state. So we'll just be like root, and the root's just going to be like, you know, an entity. Now that does mean that when I initialize you, so set up level editor. Where do I, when I set up my level editor, we spawn all this stuff. We need to grab a level underscore editor, and then we need to say res mute level editor state. Okay, so oh look, we initialize the level editor state here. So we don't actually need to do that. We can just grab we just be like let level, equals default, I guess, just call default, and then we right at the very last thing we do, rather than the first thing we do, is insert the level editor state. Cool that, like, I love that how many people are finding Bevy, like, especially because it's like whenever there's a big update, I notice in my views go up, you know, corresponding. It could also just be that I post more videos when there's a no update, because it's just refreshing to get back into, like, there's interesting stuff to explore. But like, yeah, it is interesting, like, when the new video, like when a new Bevy version comes out, like, all my old stuff gets views as well. My favorite kind of thing with this is if I go to, let's just go like to YouTube Studio. Is if I go to my very first video that I actually have public content, because I've got some stuff that I took down, but my very first video, this video is like so edited, like 0.6 is when this version came out, almost a year ago today, like it's 360 something days old now. But if I go to the analytics on this video, it's just like a constant upward line, but you can see like these little bumps when the Bevy versions come out. But I'm surprised. It's probably because it's the first video on my playlist, so therefore like everything cycles back to it. But like this ridiculously outdated Bevy video, and it's got like the most watch hours of my entire channel. Like I really need to update this video, and you know, have other videos point to an actually up-to-date video, not this out-of-date one. Coming out, but as a software developer, to use a tool that is so UI heavy and not data driven. So, yeah, like it's actually weirdly enough to go backwards for me. I knew about Bevy before the Godot 4 came out, and then like a lot of the YouTubers like started posting these like making things in 4 different game engines or whatever, or to talk about Godot, you know, version 4 coming out. And I just thought it was weird that like nobody was talking about Bevy, because it is admittedly a tiny engine, but there's a lot of these like making in all these different game engines, and like they talk about, you know, Unity and Unreal obviously, but they'd also have like these really bizarre game engines that I've never heard of, and I'm like, man, one day Bevy will be that little game engine where they're like, I did it in 12 game engines, and Bevy will be one of them. And you know, the community will grow hugely if some of the larger channels that do game dev picked up Bevy as a like, hey, here's some cool stuff. Because the best I've seen is there's like a channel called like something like Let's Talk Game Design or something. No, that's a different channel. It's something I don't remember. He talks about like how you can do game dev in Rust or something, I think. And he does the big updates of Bevy, but doesn't like really talk about Bevy. Like he doesn't even do every big update last I checked. But I'm also not subscribed to him, so maybe he does. It's just like occasionally I'll see like the really big Bevy updates, but the sort of in-betweeny ones that were not so big, he didn't do updates on. What was I doing? I was inserting the resource, the level editor. Now, for now, the level editor, we're going to go like commands.spawn, and it's just going to be spawn empty, please. Spawn empty. We should probably just be like, you, my friend. I'm just going to be like dot default. And then we're going to say root is going to be you, my friend. Yeah, making a city builder and yeah. And so yeah, like I'm also building like a city builder, but like I do love city builders. Like that was actually my thing that I was going to build when I found Bevy. Was I was going to do like a really in-depth city builder that like had, you know, all the utilities and everything work properly, and like, you know,
just tracks so much deeper than everything else. But every time I try to do it in Unity, I got too sidetracked by the editor. It made some things really easy, and other things like really hard. So it was like having Bevy force you to write your code in a way that's like, hey, this isn't going to gotcha in like 3 months when you forgot that you did this little loophole to get something to work. Is just nice. Why are you saying that root doesn't? Oh, because it doesn't implement default. Anyway, current is just none. Yeah. If you're new to my channel, you probably haven't seen my hexagon video yet, but I put out a video 2 weeks ago, about my game that I've been making, which is this thing here. Let's get sidetracked because I really want to talk about my project and drive traffic to that video, because I'm working on the next video, because I swapped from using floating point numbers to fixed point numbers and made everything really fast. So if you're doing any kind of mesh generation that needs math, do fixed point, because it doesn't, like, it's 2 times, if not more, faster than floating point with no real sacrifice, because your meshes are going to be at a fixed like ratio. I broke my camera. That's hilarious. I was making the the fly cam video that came up before I went live, and I was deliberately breaking the fly cam to make footage to show why you needed to do it a specific way, and it's still broken. Yeah, I'm not sure, because it's been like I've never developed something really big in Unity, and so a lot of my experience with Unity is a lot of it's gotcha shit, where it's like, oh, it's really easy to do, but then it just screws you over because you're actually doing it wrong. Like Unity, object oriented, obviously, lets you do things like you can call like .find, and it'll find every object of a specific object type. Like it'll, and that gets slow fast. Like if you've got lots of objects in your world, it's really slow to query that. Whereas Rust, it's like O of n, or O of 1, as opposed to Unity's O of n, because it needs to iterate through every single one of them. Rust just has a dictionary that's like, hey, I want this component. It goes, here's everything that could possibly have that component. Like there's no, you don't have to iterate through everything. But that might just be, again, because my game design style is ECS from the beginning without even intentionally being ECS. Have I broken it? Well, I can still spin. Okay, some things are still broken. But anyway, this is my hexagon-based map that I'm working on, like a Zoo Tycoon kind of game. Yeah, the learning curve of Bevy is definitely better. Like, I love that I don't know any Rust, just using Copilot. I mean, yeah. The only issue you're gonna have with that is I don't know how often they retrain Copilot, which means that every major Bevy update is going to screw you, because like I'm noticing with ChatGPT, because again in my hexagon video I mentioned that ChatGPT, I asked it, hey, can you optimize this, and it made it twice as fast, because it knew a Rust function that I didn't know. But every time I ask it about Bevy shit, it just spits out 0.9, like not even 0.9 actually. It'll be spitting out 0.8 or 0.7, because I've been writing like I wanted to use GPT to write a what was it? It was a YouTube short about system parameters, and it keeps going, oh yeah, you got to put .system at the end. I'm like, that hasn't been a thing since like 0.6. Like, what are you going on about? And then you tell it like, hey, like don't do that, and it goes, oh yeah, I can get rid of that, and then it forgets and starts doing it again. I'm like, oh, you idiot. Yeah. Yeah, they've kind of fixed the you know, because it really was that bad back. I think I found Bevy at 0.2 or 0.3. And it really was like every other month there was an update. But now I think it's every 3 months on like a fixed cycle. The issue that they're having now is they've grown the team so much that it used to be like, hey, all you had to do is rename some things and that was it. You were back up to date. Now it's like, hey, everything's changed. Huge update. Every single update is just a massive overhaul of everything. Yeah, it definitely still suggests using .add system, which is going to be even worse now because system sets aren't a thing. Adding to stages aren't a thing. It's all done with different extensions. So .system is no longer used. Instead, we use inset, in base set, run if. So GPT is no longer useful for Bevy. It's still useful for Rust, again, because like Rust hasn't dramatically change everything. I'm trying to fix my fly cam before I got too distracted again. Where was it? I commented out my clamping. So it's going to recompile that. Can you thank you. Clear this, recompile. Yeah. I kind of forgot why I came over to my Hexagon game. Oh, right. I'm building like a Dinosaur Tycoon game. I don't know how long it'll take me to get to the whole Dinosaur Tycoon-y side of the game because I've spent like 3 months on this game and I've done this. It's just generated really big maps. But I'm spending a lot of time doing it right in that, as you can see, I've got it spitting out how long it took to generate a chunk. It's taking about 65 milliseconds to generate a chunk in debug mode. And critical that it's debug mode because it takes like less than a millisecond in release. But that was over 100 before I swapped to fixed point. And I've also tripled the chunk size and it's still slow. Like I'll go down to the original size that my chunks were. And it was taking about 100 milliseconds a chunk when they were 5 in size. And they're 15 now. So we just recompile this. This is also what I mean. Like it does not take very long for Rust to recompile when it's already compiled. Like once. Well, let's see what it says. Like it'd be like less than 30 seconds. 6 seconds. Yeah. Like it's not that long. Anyway, so if I hit F5, this is the chunk size that I was using originally, and it took over 100 milliseconds, and now it takes 7. And all I've done is I restructured it slightly. Bevy's with the largest number of sprites. Sprites is really good. Like it's really good with a lot of sprites. 3D models, it sucks. I did like basically a whole video talking about it in my Hexagon thing. I was talking about originally each of these were an instanced single instance, and you got to a world like maybe half this size, and I'd be at like 15 FPS. Like it was bad. It might be better now, but I'm not updating my old code to 0.10 to benchmark something that I've already stopped using. But I did find that going from 0.9 to 0.10 actually made this approach fractionally slower. But I think that's more because I'm not doing this in the optimal way, and they've obviously improved the main path, which may have made some of the not main paths that I'm using slower. But this is actually chunked. If I go like here. Yes, I'm so glad I swapped to a spiral implementation. Originally, I was using a hexagon iterator that started at the top right corner and went like this way, which meant that when you went to try and find chunk 0, it's like miles down the list. Anyway, yeah, so each chunk is generated from the individual hexagons. It's actually using waveform collapse. So each hexagon, if I go back into this view, each hexagon's broken down into 7 segments. The core, no, it's more than 7, it's 13. Yeah, 13. So it's got the core, the straight connection, this corner connection, this straight, so there's 6 straights, 6 corners, and it picks each edge based on the type that like neighbor it has. So this, obviously it's a water cell, so it gets the water no matter what. Then it picks, because there's grass here, it goes, hey, I'll use a bank, and then the corners check too. So the corner goes, hey, it's a bank here, it's a water here, so it uses this bank water. And then if it goes, hey, it's water here, and water here, it uses the water one, and then depending, because this is technically a different bank to this one, because it slants the other way, so this one checks, this is, and then this corner is both of them at dirt. So I'm like kind of impressed with it. I also probably have a lot of speed up from this more than just swapping the fixed point, which is what I was kind of pointing towards. Is do all your mesh manipulation in fixed point and then convert back to floats, because it's just so much faster math wise. But I also made it so that these trees aren't actually part of the collapsing mesh. They're instead added after, like inserted, without doing the hash map comparison that I do to remove duplicate vertexes. And the primary reason for doing that is I think the odds of a tree sharing a vertex with the ground are pretty low, and in most cases you wouldn't actually want the trees to merge their vertexes because the trees are close enough together to merge, because that will end up with your trees sort of ending up like rounding and lopsiding. So I added a function inside my I keep going back to code with that closing the game, which means that you guys can't see it because of how it's set up. If I go into my wave mesh collapse thing, my wave mesh has we have add, which just takes an offset and a mesh and then just literally inserts them with the remapped offset. And then we have bake, which actually uses the hash map to check to see if duplicate vertices are there. So baking is slower than adding, but will be faster to render at the end. So it's sort of the trade-off that I'm talking about in my current video that I'm working on about. Do you make it take longer to generate a mesh and therefore quicker to render when you have the mesh? And I choose slow to generate meshes, fast to render. If I just quickly show this in release mode, because it's taken 66 milliseconds to generate, and it seems really slow. That drops you to like 15 FPS or something, I think. Yeah. But if I go back up and I just put in, let's turn my chunk size back up so it's actually comparable. 15, and then we go release. No, did I spell that wrong? Yeah, really didn't want that. Is it dash please? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let that compile. Yeah. So it's blazingly fast in release mode, or I guess not release, optimized mode. Which is another thing that can be annoying about Rust, is that it has so many checks built in that go away when it optimizes that the code, it takes 15 milliseconds to generate a 15 chunk in release, and it took 60 in not release, which is a pretty sizable trade-off for your debug build times. In that, when I was originally making this, going, oh no, my game's going to be unplayable because it just takes so long to generate meshes. And then I put it in release mode and I was like, oh wait, never mind. It takes a fraction of a second to generate them, when I was using floating point, it could take up to a quarter of a second to generate one chunk. A chunk this size would take way longer than that. It might take 2-3 seconds to generate in build mode, and then in release mode it would be maybe 50 milliseconds. So it was way faster, about 5 times faster. And a lot of that's probably to do with the iterators get completely removed and all that in release mode, whereas in not release mode it has to actually do all the iterations. I could also make a lot of optimizations in, if I cut this mesh down into a single hexagon, since it doesn't have any waveform collapsing. I also don't know if this is the best approach. Probably a good spot to ask, because I'm sure someone has input on this. Currently, I'm working on my wave objects to make them expandable, but able to be resources in Bevy. So you can have a single resource. They can't have generics because Bevy's resources won't. Resources can support generics, but if you have 2 different types, they won't work. And I don't want to, in the original implementation that I have up here, wave objects, I have, like, at the top here, a new type that wraps a dynamic wave object, like a trait object. And to me, like, this seems like a really hacky way of going about it, is that I have an object that holds a pointer to a trait object. So if you wanted to implement your own wave object, you can, and then you just box it up and put it in here. But then you can't load from files and stuff like that because, well, I guess you could, but you need like different loaders for each type that then convert to this and insert them, and it just seems hacky to me. And my way around this is probably even worse, is that I'm just holding function pointers inside the wave object, which means that the you no longer need a pointer because you have a wave object that this has like all the meshes that the object may need, and then the can connect function, which I like the idea of having it being its own, so each type of mesh can come up with, do I connect to this connection, and then each has its build function, and then they just call their respective functions when you call it, which works quite well actually. But I just feel like this is just a slightly less hacky version of the new type wrapping, since the way that I then implement you specifying like how you implement it is like this river trait here, this river object. When you call new on it, you just call like, hey, I want the built-in function to be the river's bake function, and I want the connection to be like, if it's water, you can connect, otherwise you can't. And it's like, it's less hacky, but still hacky. So there's got to be a better way, which is part of the reason I make YouTube videos, is that like it exposes me to more people in a way that I can be like, hey, do you know a way of doing this that is better? Anyway, we should probably go back to what the title says we're working on, which is oh, we can't default. Yeah, thank you. So we have our we're gonna end up having to move this at some point, but we should probably also spawn a node bundle, not just an empty bundle, because node bundle default. For now, it's just going to be at the center of the screen. I haven't contributed to Bevy directly, or at least not that I remember. I've definitely contributed to a lot of plugins, like where updating from one version to the next version, or the Bevy editor please, which is one of the plugins that I really wish I could contribute more. I implemented a now useless system that would make it so that the editor's save scene would only save specific items, or like in the particular case not save certain items, like the camera, like, because first off, it crashed every time, or it didn't crash, it emitted an error every time you tried to save a scene, because the way it was saving scenes didn't work with cameras, and there was no way to say, hey, don't save this particular entity. So I added a system to it that let it be like, hey, don't save the editor cameras into the scene, because they're not part of the scene. So you could specify any item that you didn't want to be part of the scene, and it would ignore it. And then, like, literally like 2 weeks after I got that merged in, Bevy released an update, and in that update they had dynamic scene builders, which did exactly that, where you feed them in entities that you want to be included. Mine was entities that you wanted to be excluded, but it was the exact same system. Funnily enough, one of my most successful videos was talking about my implementation of a system that let you only insert certain entities. And then Bevy was like, hey, nah, you don't need to do that anymore. The video's outdated. And I was like, okay. It's still kind of relevant because, it still explained how to make dynamic scenes and stuff. It's just that, like, I was going, hey, you'll need to make a custom system to do this. And Bevy's like, no, it's core now. Though maybe my video is the reason it is core now. It's because I pointed it out and it got added. But I don't think the time frame lines up. I think it was just something that was already going to happen, and I just happened to pick poor timing on it. What was I doing? So we spawn that, and then we come down here and we say, okay, so if the editor is changed, we if let sum obj equals editor state dot current. And we say obj dot spawn UI dot UI, something UI, draw UI, and then we give it a reference, mutable reference to commands, and the editor state dot root. Okay, so in theory, what this does is if I change what object, can't move. Okay, just reference this. If I change what object is currently spawned, like if I change what object the editor is currently spawning, it will draw the UI. It also needs to call like we probably need to get like access to children. Then we need to say like no query children children, and then we say we need to go children. That doesn't seem right. So then we go if let okay. That's not how you spell okay. C equal children dot get editor state dot root, and then for child right equals this, then we do this, then we go for child in C, and then we say commands dot entity child dot despawn recursive. Okay, and then we need to dereference here. So just for those following along, what I'm doing is I'm getting the children of the sort of the object that holds the custom UI element. I'm grabbing its children and deleting them if I update the editor, and then spawning UI objects back in on that child. Okay, so a level editor state. Why are you saying it's... Oh, the root and the current are never used. Okay, right. Then we come up here and we go the on enter system. My cursor system. Wait, my cursor system. Why is that? This should definitely only be running when the editor's running. No. I forgot what the system's called. Setup clean. No. What do I call it? Spawn new object. Spawn new object. Okay. Spawn new object. So we add those, and then we're going to say dot inset on update. Nope, not on exit, on update. On update of game state level editor. Okay, and then cleanup editor also needs to be called cleanup editor create entity with main menu or shadow. Okay, well, we remove this resource. So one thing we should do is go level underscore editor underscore and then we're going to say res level editor state, and then we go, so we just spawn all of these, and we're also going to say commands dot entity level editor dot root dot despawn recursive. Recursive. Okay, so that will remove whatever this spawns. Okay. I also feel like this draw UI should take in, instead of immutable commands, it should take in immutable entity commands. And why give it immutable entity commands? Because it means you can't. It restricts what the user can do with the UI that they're given. They can entity that I give them, as opposed to handing them an entity and saying, "Please use this responsibly." So then I would say dot entity, like so, and then we say like editor state. Basically, I'm idiot proofing my API. Right, no, okay. So we just need to update these, like the square, which currently just does to do. Okay, so you are a entity. Okay, it's always good to idiot-proof your APIs. Mostly because the idiot that's going to be using them is me, and you know, who says in the next time I got to use this code, I'm not going to forget that I have to spawn specifically on that entity. Bound entity commands. Okay, so wait, entity. Okay, interesting. So do I have to specifically pass you WANS? You don't return anything, so apparently I don't need to be. Doesn't need to be a mutable reference. It just gets ownership of it, which is interesting. Okay. Do you have like predefined things then? Okay. Well, that's interesting at least. So with that, right. So we need our main UI. Back to our editor. When I spawn the main editor, I need to make it so that when I click the button, so spawn level editor, we spawn UI button .png, and then we call the new window the editor window, and then we make a button at 00 command sprite load UI button.png and insert resource level. Okay, and then your child is a handle texture ls default sprite. Okay. Okay. So okay, I have this make button, and I feel like I need to insert something on you. Main. Where does main end? There. Okay. So let's run this and see what it does. I wrote this code like months ago, or 8 months ago? I don't know. Time both flies and drags. I keep doing things and then being like, I did this so long ago, and then other things I'm like, I thought I did this ages ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Why did it crash? Oh, that's never fun. Don't do this to me. I don't know why this happens. Because like it's just spitting this out. It does this normally when I have the game open. Like if the game's open in the background. What is exit code?
Cargo build fails with linker code. Yeah, go straight to Stack Overflow. That's where all the answers are. Change the default linkers. So change this issue. My system is. What? Okay. Rust update. Wasn't this working? Like, I really want to make something for the third Bevy Game Jam, and I want to do videos like about it. The issue I feel like I'm going to run into is I'm currently doing an apprenticeship or a pre-apprenticeship, and I'm pretty sure I've got a lot of work placement, like somewhere in the window when the Bevy Game Jam's happening. So, I'm either going to be like, sweet, I've got time, I'm going to get this done, or I'm going to be absolutely swamped with work and I'm not going to be able to do it. So, like, even though I'll be able to do it after work sort of thing, I'll be so dead tired that I may only make a game and then like a video at the end, as opposed to the last Bevy Jam where I literally managed to get a video done in the middle, and then it didn't work on the project for like 3 days, and then did another video at the end. But that video took like 2 weeks after the jam finished before I got it out, just because I was so sapped from just doing like too much. I don't need needs to be released, but oh great! And now the virus scanner's found it. It's always fun. Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe with my, far too small for our audience, we can influence the vote and aim for a really good jam topic. Well, it took like literally to the point that I was working on it down to like I wasn't gonna get it uploaded, I didn't think, for the jam. But the actual like hours spent on it was probably only like maybe 10, 15. Like I really powered through it like the first day or two, and then just absolutely like hit a brick wall in terms of like mental, just getting things done. It just really ground to a halt. Like art does my head in, so I spent a while like being like, do I go find assets? Do I make assets? I then made horrible like pixel art assets that I just kept. For some reason, I decided I was going to make all the sound effects like myself instead of going and finding any. So, partly because I thought it was really funny that I was like, man, I can just like do all the sound effects with my mouth kind of style thing, or like just shit around my desk, which means that like when you invented things, it was just like me being like whoosh, wind, or like one of the things, I don't remember what it was, but it was just me like scrunching up a bit of paper, or like the void was like I was like, how do I make void separate from wind, because it needs to make a noise, but it can't just make like the same noise as wind. So I was trying to come up with things like how to make noises, like how to make like a presence without just making it be like, this is wind again. What else did I do for that? That was I did the blood noise or the water noise with like a spoon and 2 cups of water, just like pouring them back and forth. I'm trying to think what other sounds. I think I had a jar of dirt. Like that jar of dirt's probably still around here somewhere. That I used to make like the dirt sound effect, is I just like sort of shook a jar of dirt or something. I don't remember, but it was a lot of fun. Like I wanted to do more. I just like burnt myself out too quick, I guess, and then got like super like unmotivated to keep working on the project. I tend to find that a lot with Bevy is or it's more Rust than Bevy, is sometimes
I guess my brain's in the burrow checker mindset that like I can make something in Rust really quick, really easy. Like the compiler will be like, "Hey, don't do that. That's dumb." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. You just saved me like an hour trying to find that." Like iterating loops and hitting continue inside a loop as opposed to like out of like or in the inner loop instead of the outer loop, and it's going, "Hey, you're borrowing more than once." I'm like, "Why?" That kind of stuff. Like sometimes it really clicks. Other times it's like I just fight the borrow checker non-stop, and that kind of shit just does my head in and makes it really hard to stay motivated when you feel like you're fighting the borrow checker. And Bevy is weird like that, because when I stay in my little niche of Bevy, the stuff that I've done videos on, the stuff that I understand and could like off the top of my head tell you about, I get shit done. It's when I decide that I'm going to experiment, the stuff that I'm going to make videos on, that I end up getting stuck in a rut because I write something that I don't quite understand and then get stuck fighting that thing because the borrow checker's not liking it, or it's just doing something that I'm not expecting. Like, while this compiles, let's go back to my other game. This is like a really good example of like how, as I build things as I go, they look like shit. But when I build things that I have an understanding of how they're going to work. So this is my wave object code, and the wave object trait, if we track it down here. Originally it was called wave object. Then I made the wave object resource, so I had to rename it wave object trait. But it has its bake, and this function is just so... Actually, I think I've partly fixed it. But this function was so jumbled and mixed up because originally I was going to make like a hexagon mesh that was like a height map. So this function took in like the offset of the hexagon and the height of its 6 neighbors. And, then I moved on to the wave mesh, but I still needed the height of the neighbors because I was going to make my own wave object format. Like if we track down wave mesh... Or if I think I killed that. Yeah, it was commented out, so it's dead. Maybe we go to GitHub and go to history. Jank River. This is for testing purposes only. It's got to be in one of these. I removed, changed using to floating points. Rename builder. One of these will have the mesh. River. I kind of wish you could search for like words in the thing, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I just don't know what update it'll be under. One of these update rivers. No, this is an actual used wave collapse. Tests. Mod. So this is where I changed out from using heights to using mesh builders and stuff. Somewhere in here, like I've got things like bake data, which then took in like the heights of offsets and stuff, and like lots of stuff like that, where it's like I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was just sticking shit in, and a lot of it lingered for a very long time. Anyway, the point is that when I first build things, they tend to be quite crappy, and then I get an idea of what I'm doing, and then get much better. So we'll come back to the wave object, so this is sort of a second iteration, like, or a cleanup pass. It used to be more jumbled, but then we'll come down to this one, which is like my actual, like, I knew everything that the waveform collapse needed to do, so hence I can turn it into a single object. But like I decided it needs the build function takes offset, the meshes, the main mesh builder, and the neighbors. Like that's all it needs, so that's all it gets. But it also all uses generics, which in some ways is really annoying to write, because I have to keep going like P, where P is this, and UV is this, and ID is this, and like some of them had like where IVEC RP implements hash, And then I went, why am I doing this when I could just say that P has to implement hash? The reason was I was trying to make it so that P could be a vertex type, or vertex position, as I call it. See, like here, implement copy, where vertex is PUV, where vertex P implements hash. This will always be the case, because this now implements hash. Originally, this didn't implement hash, which meant that this needed to be here in order to get things to compile. But again, like, it's a little messy shit that because I didn't understand what I was doing. Well, I didn't know what I wanted, so I kept expanding this trait. It kept getting more and more. Some of them are condensed down, because then you got like vertex component, which says that it's very complicated. Add output plus sub output multiply self. Like, all of these things are needed so that I can implement basic vector math on a generic vector, which really useful, but also like a mindfucky number of rules you need to have, since like I can't do add assign on a vector because like I've got them here, but I've specifically imported when I'm implementing. Whereas the add assign should actually be part of this, saying that it can't be part of a vector if it can't be added and assigned. But also, I kind of wish Bevy's vector 3 was like this, generic. Because they've got a vector 3 and an IVEC, and like, it would be so much nicer if I didn't have to do this kind of stuff in order to have fixed point vectors, which is what an R vector is in my case. I don't know why I called it R vector. I think originally I called it an F vector, and then I decided it was an R vector because I made it generic, and now it's a relative vector. But basically the idea is it would be really nice if Bevy had like its vector 3 was generic and had like a rule that to be a vector 3 it needs to implement add, subtract, multiply, and whatever else Bevy needs in order to do it, and then implement like hash and that on specifically a vector of I32, because this also means that like currently Bevy is IVEC and vec3 are 32-bit. They can't change that because they would have to change every single instance of the vectors to being F64 and I64 if they wanted to. Whereas if they did a generic version, then they could say like, hey, a vec3 is this type, and then IVEC is the I32 inserted type. How do you do it? It's in here. It's like it must be under. No, it's in this one. It's here. This they could do this as in the vec3 that they export would be a F32 of the generic, like I've done here, a fixed ID, fixed fraction of this fraction. So they could say like, hey, it's an F32, and the IVEC is an I32, but they're both like G vectors or something, where it's a generic vector. And the stream is now indefinitely buffering. I don't think it likes my ranting. Yeah, but it would be nice if it just sort of expanded. Also, apparently this is still not going to work, and I'm worried I'm going to have to restart my computer because it's like last time I had this issue, it had something to do with like it's just no, it's compiling it. It's because I swapped from release to dev. Anyway. I hope the stream's still going, because on mine it's just indefinitely buffering, so... Nope, no, it's gone back, but apparently I'm behind. Let's catch back up. Weird. Yeah, so there's a few things with Bevy, like... one reason I can see not to do generics is I've been told that generics make compile time slower, because it needs to compile and export like the generic version, and then that generic version gets interpreted and converted into fixed type versions. It's called like mono something or other, monomorphically, and then There's polymorphically, which is when you give a dynamic reference. So the same code is used for multiple types. But for speed, Rust almost always tries to go for monomorphic code. Ugh. Drink water, my throat's getting dry. That's too much ranting. Back-to-back complete compiles. This is when Rust takes too long to do stuff. Let's see how my system's doing. I can feel it being a bit sluggish. Yeah, CPU's like 80% because when Rust compiles, she eats some resources. I have the blender of those meshes open, so I'm just get even more sidetracked while we wait for that to compile. I also like that it seems to think the average view duration is 5 minutes. The stream's been going for an hour and a half with 43 views. Also, YouTube's analytics are just like so dodgy. Like at one spot it says my concurrent viewers is 4 and I've got 8 likes, and the other spot it says my concurrent viewers is 1. And some people might have seen it on my channel. I posted a picture. It said my concurrent viewers was -1. Like, how does that work? Anyway, I'm getting real sidetracked. It's probably just... You done compiling yet? No. Anyway, this is just my Blender file that I was making that river in. So as you can see, this is what's really nice, by the way, from Collapse. Obviously, there's a lot of extra stuff. There's only 7 tiles I need to make in order to make the river. And then I can make every possible combination of river there is. And that's basically the core, the straight, the corners. What is it? So there's a corner left, a corner right, a corner both, and a corner flat. In theory, I could make things like, I could make like a sandy bank. Obviously, complexity still grows somewhat exponentially, but nowhere near as exponentially as like if I was making an entire mesh for every 6 combinations. But if I made this sand, I'd need to make like slopes that are like water to sand, you know, so it sort of slopes from the water up to the sand. And I'd also need like water dirt and then like sand dirt as well. So I'd need like a slope that goes from sand to dirt. I guess that's really the only 2 combinations it needs, is to connect to water or to dirt. And then you'd obviously need one that goes the other way. This is sand and this is dirt. But what's nice, it's like I only need 1 for when you're connecting to water, 1 for when you're connecting to dirt, 1 for when you're connecting to sand, which does cut down a lot on the complexity. I just wish I was good at art, because like I spent ages on this trying to get this nice, and it still has this like little weird corner thing, because if you make this pointy, this is still compiling. If you make it pointy, you end up with like really narrow rivers. So like you can't make it pointy. It has to have a bit of flat. Otherwise, you know, when you have two flats, but then also 2 rivers. Oh, why are you doing? Don't you recompile too? This is gonna slow me down even more. I should also have a local build of Bevy as opposed to this Bevy equals this version. If I had Bevy equals like local path instead, it wouldn't need to recompile the entirety of Bevy on each project. It would be able to use a shared version. So if anyone's got like lots of Bevy projects and they want to be able to cut down a compile time, that's one way, I believe at least, is you can specify a local instance of Bevy. Also means you could do things like run on Bevy main. Because you can do stuff like you could patch over, like I do a cargo patch in order to get all the plugins to run on the correct version. It's all so slow. this recompiling is also killing my stream. Not just that it can't upload, it's like it's because it's downloading these packages. So they should all be here, like they should all be downloaded already and cached. Just getting sidetracked. Just be in Blender. We'll just stay away from the Rust compiler for a while. So we want to turn like this collection off, and then just have this collection. And then we go like, let's turn these all back on. These should really be sub-collections. Because in reality, like this is the true set. This one. These are just rotated copies. Well, actually, these ones are true. These are rotated copies. These ones, yeah. So maybe I should do that. Just be like new sub collection. So we'd call this true, and then we would go new collection shadow, and then we just dump all those in the shadow, because that would mean that I can turn them on and off really easily. So almost done. The issue is that once it's done, this is going to continue piling for a while. So okay. Let's shift duplicate this, and then we're gonna go like, you are straight flat sand. I don't think I have a yellow in my let's just merge first, merge last. Yes, okay. So we'll make sand like a slope, and then go to my palette. Go. Okay, you finished compiling? No. You're almost done. Now I'm just doing other things. Where is my hexagon? Game assets. Here. Okay. Now we do have a sand. What is sand? Sand is 12? 12. So we're gonna go here. I hope everyone's enjoying this distracted stream while I wait for things to get back on track. My distracted rambling. The fun stuff. We want to say something's compiled. Okay, that one's working. So we want to go 13. Wait, didn't we just say 13? Or is it 12? 12. Okay. So we want to go new material. So new material. The new material's got 12, and the new material has a color like that. Yes, sand. So sand is just going to be steeper, like it's not going to go up and flat. Sand is just going to be flat connection. Is this one done? This one is done. Does anyone know what this linker is? Because this is what I usually get when an application is already running, but like it's not. This is it. After done in the linker. Okay, so Rust up default stable.
The issue with going default stable is it's going to need to recompile again because I'm no longer using the nightly compiler, which is hilariously going to be the third time in a row that this thing's going to need to recompile. And I can definitely see what that person is complaining about when they're saying that Rust, you can spend a lot of time just recompiling. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just gone a bit skew-whiff now. Anyway, while that's all doing that, back to Blender. So we're going to go shift, oh, no, this one. I guess we want to do the okay, hide. We want corner flat. Okay, you shift duplicate. Then you would be corner sand flat. Well, I guess we should do corner sand. No, corner sand. So you would be S. So straight sand, and then this is corner sand. So first off, this material becomes this material. Weirdly, you haven't changed color. Why are you not changing color? Oh, I must have the other one still on. Yeah, okay. So basically, this would merge here. You would almost certainly merge here, and I mean you would merge here. So sand's going to be pretty easy because sand is just like dirt, but like, you know, steeper, or less steep because it's sand. So that's sand straight, and then we want like So then we would need to go like, what do you, flat water? So okay, so we would need to go like tab new, shift duplicate, and then you're going to be sand water. Okay, and then we're going to go first off, change this out to 12, turn this off. You and you are going to merge last. Now this one I feel like is going to be different. Like this one we can't just merge. The issue with this is we need to work out what we're going to do. Okay, we have the stable. Let's run and let that compile. The stream ends up getting further and further off track as I work on hexagons. I mean, the stream achieved its initial goal of being like getting the game up to 0.10. Alright, so to get this, we need to go like your corner flat, your water flat. Okay, so first off we need to go shift. Okay, we need to go you are water sand. Okay, so sand water sand. Alright, so what combinations we've got? Flat water. Alright, so we need to like you as well. Shift duplicate. We also need flat sand. Okay, so there's those flat. Corner sand, corner sand water. We need corner sand flat. Okay, so we need to go corner CSF, corner sand flat, corner sand, corner sand water, corner water flat, corner water sand,
corner, water, water. Okay, straight, flat, straight, sand, straight, water. Okay, so one thing I need to do is go probably something along the lines of delete this, delete this, and go like duplicate linked. And this is going to be called like 60. And we're going to go grab. We want to grab all of these. Grab. And do, get rid of the core. Don't need to duplicate the core. Core. Delete. Okay. So we're going to grab all of these. Rotate around the Z. 60. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to be like duplicate linked. Undo. You duplicate linked. Did I make these linked? These better be linked. Mesh. Circle 21. CFF is circle 8. CSF. Okay, so I did make them linked. Cool. Then we're going to go, you're 120. So again, we're going to shift rotate Z 60. Okay. And then we're going to go duplicate linked. Shift rotate Z 60. Like 180, and then click U, duplicate linked, 240, rotate Z 100 and not 180, no 60, not 160, just 60. No, dude, just 60. And then go like duplicate linked, 300. Alright, so with that, we now have the thing reconstructed, but in like little subs packets. Anyway, so we need to go hide this one, we go true. Okay, corner flat, flat, we don't care. If it doesn't have an S in it, we don't care. Corner sand, water, water flat. Water sand. Okay, water, sand flat. SF. Wait, have I done the wrong one? Your SF and SS. Okay. Okay, so if I just like go like, we want to go like click you. Shit. Why is my I feel like something's crashed. What have I broken? What have I broken? Okay. Okay, so shift duplicate you. We go.
You better believe I've been reading those comments, and you also better believe that you people are sick.
Yeah,
I thought what we've done here had already been bad enough, but no.
What? Why? What is happening? Something's playing.
You had to up the ante. Suffice to say.
Semi streamer, stop. I don't want people knowing what I do. This is all stuff that I do not want to be seen. Let's go here. Let's go blank the desktop, please. I don't know what I've done. Something just restarted. And my computer is grinding to a halt. Okay,
There's the lo-fi beats coming back. Oh, yep.
What if we told you that a century ago, an epidemic swept across the world?
Nope, stop. 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 Why is everything starting playing? Oh god, it's all gone to hell. What has happened? Oh, my lo-fi beats are back. It appears that if you run your computer at like 100% utilization, it literally says 100% on Task Manager. Chrome doesn't like 100%. It still at 100%, slowly loading back in. Oh. I wonder if the stream is even still going. Hello? Oh look, it's poor. Everything is dying. Oh god. I apologize to anyone currently watching the stream. Everything is dying. Everything. Let me turn the screen back on, so I'm not showing my other monitor at the moment. Look, its power use is very high. 100% CPU utilization. She'd be dead, Jim. Yeah. Now Chrome is just consuming just absurd amounts of processing power. I'm assuming because everything's starting up and then going back to sleep. As like, because Chrome like soft rebooted itself, and it's still broken. So I'm probably gonna have to restart my computer to fix this because it doesn't seem to be a problem that I can fix. All right. Well, with that, I might edit the name of the stream. Actually, I might call that a night. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully the stream recovers so I can do the outro. Yeah. So thank you all for watching. It's a lot of fun chatting to you. Interesting live streaming when there's actually people up. The other few times I've done it, it's like everyone's kind of like probably asleep. Why is it saying no data? Is it still dead? I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna talk and assume you can all hear me. Yeah, so again, thank you for the amazing stream. It was great chatting to you all, and I probably end up streaming again tomorrow. It depends how the progress on my video goes, because I kind of need to get that done in order to keep driving traffic to my channel. Because but I'll probably stream again because I've kind of got the house to myself, so I've got quiet time to do streams without having to worry about someone just rocking up in the middle of the stream and shouting shit out in the background. So yeah, I look forward to the next stream, and I will see you all then. I'm gonna mute my OBS and wait for the stream data to go through, because what I learned from the last stream is if I just end it on OBS, it won't all go to YouTube, and if I just end it on YouTube, it won't all go to like through. So I gotta wait like a minute for it to go through. Yeah. Good night, Voltai. I'm assuming that means that my good nights have gone through. Ciao.